What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So I just finished watching episode 13 of season 1 of Dragon Ball, and it was such a cute episode, y'all. My reaction is going to be under my YouTube memberships. If you are new here, my YouTube memberships are little perks for members only. I've got 2 levels of memberships over there. Level 1 is for $2.99, and you get priority replies from me, special polls, and live streams. Level 2 is for $4.99, and you get everything that level 1 has. Plus, you get all of my reactions to all the shows that I watch, movies I watch, and all of my uncut Try Not to Laughs. So go over there and check that out. This episode is really cute. So this episode shows a little bit about what happens with Goku turning into like the wolf, and then how he kind of comes back down from it. So of course, we see that he's just tearing apart Pilaf's castle. He's absolutely tearing it apart. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew, Bulma, Yamcha, Puar, and Oolong, are like trying to run away from Goku, but they don't leave too far because they want to see what happens and they're scared, but at the same time they know it's really Goku, so they kind of don't want to leave him alone. Meanwhile, Pilaf is throwing a whole tantrum and a half because he is tearing apart his castle. At first, he doesn't realize what's happening. When Chu and Mai wake up, they see that this big monster is like tearing off their roof. Pilaf is in this dream thinking that he's a bee or whatever, but then he kind of snaps out of it and he realizes, oh shoot, we need to get up out of here. So they end up leaving. They try to like fly away as far as I can, and the whole time Pilaf is looking back like heartbroken because he sees that this big monster is tearing apart his whole castle. So then he tells them, you know what? No, they're on this little plane. And he's like, no, turn around and go back. He's not going to get away with this. We're going to make sure that he goes down for this or whatever. And they're like, what? Like, no. He's like, well, let me out. I'll go on my own. So they end up going back. And on their way back, they're like shooting at him. Meanwhile, the crew is just looking on like, oh my God, like, yeah, he's a big monster, but that doesn't mean to hurt him. So they're seeing that Pilaf is literally like shooting at Goku, trying to take him down. Nothing's working. They end up getting closer, and Goku is just kind of like trying to fight, trying to knock the plane down, right? So at some point they realize that they're not taking him down. So they end up using a missile. So they're sitting there like, oh my gosh, it's a missile. Meanwhile, though, they end up getting trapped with all the rubble and everything at some point. And Bulma falls. Oolong is trying to help. Here is Yamcha looking on like he can help, and he's just so shy. I'm like, is he that shy that he can't even help her up? Like, he can't even touch her? So Oolong is looking at him like, come on, man. Like, we're about to get squished up here. Like, let's go. So at the last minute, he picks her up and everyone's on the run. He grabs everyone and they're running off. And the whole entire time, they're running. And then they stop to look at what they're doing, and they see that Pilaf is about to throw the missile at Goku. So he ends up shooting it, and he ends up, I guess, hitting him in his face, and he falls back. There's this big explosion, and he's just laying there. So they're looking like, oh my God, is he dead? Pilaf and his little sidekicks are standing there, and he's just all happy and everything, but then he starts throwing a temper tantrum because he's just like, oh, my castle. So he's like kicking him. Now while he's kicking him, he doesn't realize that he's waking Goku up again, right? So he wakes up, he's waking up, and then he sees the guns that his sidekicks have. So he's like, here, make sure that you shoot him and get rid of everybody else. So like a punk, Pilaf goes running off. Then they're like, oh no, like, you're not leaving us behind. So they go running after Pilaf. Now he's up now. Now he's really upset. So he's tearing everything apart. At one point he hits one of the corners of the castle, and it goes flying to the point where it it hits the ground, and Bulma is like trapped underneath. So at this point, now they see that Goku is heading towards them, and they're trying to help Bulma up, and she's like, "Come on, help me, help me." And here goes Yamcha again, looking on like, "Oh my god, I have to do something, you know?" So he's trying his best, and everyone's trying, and eventually she gets out, but then Goku picks her up as he's still a wolf, or the big monster that he is. He's getting ready to like eat her alive. The whole entire time now they're looking on like, oh my god, we gotta do something. So Oolong says, Yamcha, well, didn't you say that Goku's tail is his weak point? So he was like, oh yeah. So Yamcha does like his moves to where he sees a piece of rubble, and he punches so fast that he turns the rubble into like a big sword of some sort, and he goes and tries to cut off his tail. That doesn't work. That just made Goku really, really mad. So now they're all trying to figure out how to bring him back down to the point that he's at. So then he goes to Poir, and he's like, Poir, turn into a pair of scissors and cut his tail. And I'm sitting here like, what? They're gonna cut his tail? I'm like, okay. So I'm watching on, they cut his tail, and all of a sudden he starts transforming again to the point where he turns back to his normal self. I didn't expect to see Goku's regular body without any clothes, literally nothing. Like, shows all his business, if you know what I mean. I was not expecting that. But what was I thinking? Because the beginning of this whole season, I was just seeing things that I was just not expecting. I was just like, yo, like, this is wild. So, yep, they showed all his stuff, all his business. But anyway, Bulma gave him a little jacket to cover himself up until he woke up. So when he woke up, while they were talking and while he was sleeping, they all kind of felt bad because they're like, we can't tell him what happened, and we can't tell him that he was the one that killed his grandfather because that would just crush him. So he doesn't know anything about that. He doesn't even remember turning into this monster, just as I suspected. So anyway, he starts waking up, and at this point his tail is gone. I thought it was kind of like going to grow back or something. I don't know, but clearly it's gone, right? So they're all talking and everything, and Oolong gives him his shorts to wear to cover himself up. So in the midst of all of this, they're like, well, why don't we go back to the city, or, you know, let's go find the Dragon Balls. And they're sitting there like just contemplating on what happened. They're thinking about what happened, talking about the fact that they were not going to be able to get their wishes. So Yamcha standing there like, oh man, like I won't be able to, you know, be shy around any pretty girl. Like I won't be able to not be shy around any girls or anything like that. And Bulma's like, oh man, like I will never have a boyfriend now. And then they end up looking at each other, and I'm like, oh, here they go. They're about to, you know, accommodate their wishes with each other. So I guess they became a couple. Oolong can't stand it. Oolong is just over them at this point. So they all ended up talking about how, well, Goku wants to go find them, but they're like, you know, there's no need for us to go find them anymore because we're good. We're going to go back to the city. Oolong is going to go back with them. And Goku decided to go back to Master Roshi to go get stronger. So he's like, you know, if somebody can come in and do that type of damage, and my little Kamehameha can only put a small hole in the wall, like I need to go train to get stronger. So this is going to be interesting to see because he no longer has a tail. He still has his powers, I'm sure. But I'm really interested to see how he's going to train and what the conversation is going to be like when he gets to Master Roshi. So it'll be nice to kind of see. At this point, I guess they've all parted ways. I don't know whether they're going to get together or not. I mean, a lot of you have already seen this, so you know how this goes. I don't, so I'm excited to see how this goes. So I can't wait for the next episode, but yeah, I'm definitely excited. Leave your comments down below. Let me know if you enjoyed my review. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode of Season 1 of Dragon Ball. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel, hit like, share, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you guys can get notified whenever I pop up on your feed. I'll see you guys later. Toodles!